What's up, everybody? How's it going? Hope everyone is having a great NFL offseason, NBA offseason. And, I've been thinking about doing this for a while. And now is the time. Now is the time as my career playing dwindles down. It is now time to finally, and I mean finally, get what I've always had my ambition on doing, which is starting my own show. So this is the Ryan Cubeiro Show. We're going to be talking football. We're going to be talking basketball. And we're going to stick to the proper evaluation of sports, which is the play on the field and the schematics of the coaches. None of this political nonsense, no agendas, just solely judging based on how they play. Been wanting to do this for a while. I played 12 years of football at some of the highest levels. Had the privilege of winning a college bowl game. Had a great opportunity with the great 2024 FDU squad. We got done the Max Centennial, and this will be a great opportunity to talk the X's and O's of the game. I played at some of the highest levels, and now I get the opportunity to share it with you guys. We're talking NFL divisional previews. The preseason is underway. Training camps are in. This is the opportunity. Every team has a chance. And that's what's so great about training camp. Everyone is in that positive mindset. We got the first preseason games coming up. The NFC EAST last year on Hard Knocks. So everyone got to see them up close. Hard Knocks is awesome. Gives everyone a full look of what the NFL is really about, what the highest levels of football are all about, and the dedication, the mental, the drive, everything that's given into it is just insane workload, especially on the mental side. These meetings, the installations, all that stuff, that's the stuff that they really don't see. And that's the most important stuff, because that's the stuff that will translate to Sundays, which is when wins and losses are decided. Shout out Scott Hansen, NFL Red Zone. So we're going NFC East preview today. We're going to talk Cowboys, my Dallas Cowboys. We're going to talk Washington. We're going to talk Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to talk New York Giants, the best fans by far in the NFL of all these teams. This division got the best fans in the NFL, best division, most competitive division. It was a repeat winner for over 20 years. Philadelphia just did that. We're going to start with Philadelphia. Great team, great coaching staff. Made some moves, right? Offensively, let's look at their starters, right? Let's look at their team, right? They got Jalen Hurts, a two-time Super Bowl appearance quarterback, Super Bowl MVP of Super Bowl 59. Jalen Hurts, one of the best Super Bowl performing quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. This guy is super underappreciated from a leadership standpoint, what he does, how he composes himself on the field. The way he plays is an efficient style of football. The stats may not show it, but it's a winning brand. This guy's done nothing but win. He's had all these offensive coordinators in and out every single year, and yet he still finds a way to get it done. Sean Mannion this year, the offense coordinator in Philadelphia. They'll be running that football with Saquon Barkley, who is just a special talent. Only 2 years removed off that 2,000-yard season. Had another great 1,000-plus yard season from scrimmage last year. Tank Bigsby, Will Shipley. You got Damian Pierce, a good little return specialist there. From the receiver perspective, you got Devontae Smith. He's the number one now. They traded A.J. Brown. That was a coach's general manager's decision. Upper management, they made that decision. We'll talk about that more with the New England side when we talk AFC East. But, Devontae Smith, he proved in college that he could be a number one. I think this is a great, it's a great decision. If you're going to move on from A.J. Brown, you got to have a guy like Devontae Smith in the building. And Devontae Smith's very capable of being a number one receiver. They got Mekhi Lemon. They drafted him right even before they traded A.J. Brown. This was planned. They were ready for it. So they were ready to move on. Mekhi Lemon's now ready to take over that role. Then you get a Dontavian Wicks, who was really good in Green Bay. Green Bay has great players. We'll get more into that and how highly I think of Green Bay as an organization. NFC North talk, but he's another good player. You got Elijah Moore, Hollywood Brown to finish out the receiving corps. Britton Covey, another little return specialist guy. You got Dallas Goedert over there as well. Very productive, high caliber level tight end. And then honestly, the most impactful part of this offense is the line. You got Cam Jurgens at center with Steen, Tyler Steen and Landon Dickerson as the guards. And then probably some of the two highest level tackles in the NFL, and Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata, two all-pro caliber players. So that's a great offense. Obviously, schematically, I thought they were set back last year. Not a lot of motion that was ran in their pass concepts. Just very bland pass concepts. A lot of stuff on the same side, which in the NFL level was shocking. A lot of same side, same double route concepts on both sides. Listen, that's stuff that is ran at the JV high school level and sometimes even the varsity high school level. That's not stuff that you would be expecting even at the college level or the NFL level. So it was shocking to see, and obviously Petula was let go. They did not perform well as an offense schematically. So we'll see what Sean Mannion does. Defensively, Jalen Carter just got the bag. He is an elite player. Really good elite player. Really physical. Can get off the ball well. Jordan Davis, big, good in size. Really can just bull rush and stop the run. Then you got Nolan Smith and Jonathan Grenard, who they just traded for from Minnesota. And you got Jahad Campbell and Zach Bond as your inside linebackers. Zach Bond is really good. And then a key signing they got here was Arnold Edebike from Atlanta. He had a really good year last year. He could be a rotational pass rusher. And then the most improved part of this team is the secondary right now. The Philadelphia Eagles at corner right now alone have Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, who are their all-pros. And then they have Tariq Woolen with Jonathan Jones, Jacorian Bennett, and Michael Carter. So that corner room is great. The safety room, they have Andrew DeCuba and Marcus Epps. But on this depth chart here, they have Cooper DeJean listed as the backup strong safety. So expect to see Cooper DeJean playing safety back there. And we'll see how that looks. But Philadelphia as a coaching staff, they got Sirianni, Sean Mannion, and Vic Fangio. So that's a great coaching staff, and I expect Philadelphia to be a contending team. I see them with their schedule at 11-6, and that is contending for first place in this division. We're going to go next to my Dallas Cowboys. Dallas, last year, obviously, everybody saw we had a great offense. We are returning all 11 starters, and if actually you include Hunter Lepke as a 12th. So every guy that started last year is back on offense, which is always a great thing. When you got a guy like Dak Prescott, who's the most underappreciated quarterback in football, from a leadership standpoint, from the way he can protect the ball, the way he throws the ball in the pocket, his leadership, obviously, is a gold patch, Walter Payton Man of the Year guy, like underappreciated, and he had his best season last year. And something he talked about is like, you as one player can control the outcome, but you don't control if you win or lose. And what do you mean by that is it takes a full 22, 33 men, those 33 guys that start on special teams, offense and defense. That's what it takes to win the game. So from that perspective, Dallas was not good. Their defense last year was literally one of the worst we can ever talk about on tape. I mean, everyone made blooper reels. The amount of times a guy was wide open, the amount of times a guy was on the ground. I mean, literally the clips. The Marvin Harrison one really comes to mind, the slant route on the goal line. He was lined up on the left side as the outside receiver against Deron Bland in what was a press inside leverage look, and to still allow a slant route touchdown, and Deron Bland being on the ground. Obviously, Deron Bland's looking for a bounce back year, so we're going to see how they look. Finishing out the offense, though, before we talk about that defense, which is much improved. Dak Prescott, obviously, had a great year last year. Looking forward to watching him again because it's a privilege to watch him every Sunday. One of the great quarterbacks in this league. And then you got Javonte Williams coming back, 1,000-yard year last year, had a great run. And then hopefully Jaden Blue is going to be the RB2, and he'll step it up with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Man, what a special 1-2 punch. And then you got a guy like Ryan Flanoy and Kevontae Turpin. And then another key guy that's played with a lot of great quarterbacks in his career, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. This guy can be shining at times. Can just make the play of the game. It's insane. He scored a Super Bowl touchdown in Super Bowl 58 against San Francisco. Had a great performance there. And then you got a guy like Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson last year had his career high in catches. Now the question is, can he protect the football? Because some of those fumbles were completely unacceptable. As a receiver, I can tell you, we were told in our meeting rooms by our great coach, Coach LaSala, we do not get the ball enough to fumble. All right? You got to hold on to that football, two hands. Ball security is going to be a big question, obviously, with all these teams. And then what I really like about this offensive line is you have the three Tylers in Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker, and Tyler Guyton. Tyler Guyton right now is competing with Nate Thomas for the starting left tackle spot. So we're going to see how that goes. And then you got Cooper Beebe, obviously at center, and then Terrence Steele at right tackle. So I love the guard tandem on this team. I always have. I thought Tyler Booker was a great first-round pick for us. Tyler Smith was a great first-round pick for us. And even Tyler Guyton, if he can actually play to that level, we're looking at a very good offense once again. The biggest question, though, is the defense, right? Now, trading for Quinnen Williams, man, that made me very happy. Especially, we got Kenny Clark, which I thought was big time. We're not going to talk about the asset that was given up until we'll get to our NFC North preview. But, we did trade a guy that did produce at a high level. And, in return, we got all these picks, right? So we get these players, right? And then you ended up making another trade for in the same team for Rashawn Gary. So I know they wanted to give him up. We'll take him gladly. So now you got Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, and it looks like Donovan Ezgarasku as the starting D-line of this team. Ezgarasku was a rookie last year, had some good plays, and then you got a guy like Malachi Lawrence, who we drafted in the first round as well. So the team is looking good. The Dallas Cowboys are looking good, and then my sleeper, man, that is James Houston. 5.5 sacks last year, was really productive for the Cowboys. So this is a guy that we look after. Then the thing that we most improved on, the team, the Dallas Cowboys most improved on, man, that linebacking core. Damarian Overshown, D. Winters, I'm excited to watch those guys for sure. And then you got guys in the secondary that got better. We have Caleb Downs now. So the Dallas Cowboys getting Caleb Downs, obviously from a fan perspective, I really wanted him. I thought we weren't going to get him. A team like the Giants could have got him. We'll talk about the Giants got in the draft. It did help their team. Did make them better. But Caleb Downs, man, he is what the Cowboys needed. So having him at nickel right now, it says he's starting at nickel. We got DeRon Bland and Kobe Durant is our outside corners. And then starting at safety right now, we have Jalen Thompson from the Cardinals, who made some plays last year. The Cardinals were a struggling team. Obviously, they did beat the Cowboys. They did play well in some games on defense. So, that's a bright spot. And then hopefully DeRon Bland can stay healthy, because 2023 DeRon Bland was very good. 2024 and 2025 DeRon Bland, those are different conversations. But what he can do well is play the ball. His ball skills are absolutely incredible. So DeRon Bland, man, that could hopefully be a guy. And then obviously the biggest acquisition of this whole team is defense coordinator. The Dallas Cowboys hiring Christian Parker from the Philadelphia Eagles, who coached 2 previous All-Pro corners, like we talked about with Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. Going to be exciting how we set the tone in camp. They look great in practice right now. Obviously, that's practice. They got a joint scrimmage with the Rams coming up, so I'm excited to see how it looks. I got the Cowboys right now. The schedule looking tough. I can see the floor at 8 wins, but I'm going to take us here at 12-5 at first place in the division. Obviously, it's biased perspective, but if you talk to me the last couple of years, in 2024, I didn't think the team was going to be that good coming off the Green Bay loss. And then last year, especially after trading Micah Parsons, I thought we had no chance to win the division. And that team still competed and won 7 games despite having the worst statistical defense. Another team that was great and competed a couple years ago was Washington. Washington had an NFC Championship appearance 2 seasons ago with obviously Jaden Daniels stepping in there as a second overall pick, and he did his thing. It's the best rookie season ever. I always say Dax was the first, and then when Jaden Daniels went in there and took that team as a wild card to the NFC Championship game, 12 wins, that tops it. But Jaden Daniels, man, absolutely incredible player. Dealt with a lot of injuries last year. Was super banged up. So that's going to be the key. Can he stay healthy? Marcus Mariota did fill in. That's a guy we've always been a fan of, me and my friends, for a long time. So Marcus Mariota, very serviceable backup. That's the guy you want to have there. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, great running back last year. They got to give him more touches, I feel. They gave Rodriguez a lot of those touches at the end of the year. We'll see what he can do. And then you got Jeremy McNichols was a guy that were giving touches as well. But the big key addition was Rachaad White, a guy who was losing touches to Bucky Irving, started getting some. Then even Sean Tucker was getting some over him. It was really a rotational back system there in Tampa Bay. So we'll see if Rachaad White can get more. Terry McLaurin's back. Let's see if Terry McLaurin can stay healthy. Treylon Burks had that insane one-handed catch against Denver last year. Let's see if he can get a little bit more consistent. You got a guy like Van Jefferson, De'Ami Brown, who can be good at times. And then you have Luke McCaffrey as well. And then Antonio Williams. That's a guy that can be a sleeper, a pretty crafty receiver, can make plays when you need it. And then the big addition they also made at tight end was getting Chig Okonkwo, who was very good in Tennessee for Cam Ward on a struggling offense last year. I really like what they do at left tackle, training for Laramie Tunsil. You get him. Then you got Chris Paul at the left guard position, Nick Aguilera as the center, Sam Cosmi, who's probably their best offensive lineman outside of Tunsil, as their right guard, and then you got Josh Connerly as the right tackle. So solid offensive line. The question is, can that team stay healthy? Right now, defensively, you got Settle, Deron Payne, Javon Kinlaw, Odadoff Owaway. You also have Dorrance Armstrong there as well in the D-line with Calavan Chason, and Charles Omenihu is a big-time sleeper player. He had a great run in Kansas City. That's a guy that can get to the quarterback, make contact on the quarterback, make plays when needed. Super Bowl champion with Kansas City multiple times. That's going to be a good player. And then the key thing is they already have Frankie Louvu, Leo Chanel, and Sonny Styles. Bobby Wagner is still a free agent. Does Washington bring him back? Or does even a team like the Cowboys or a rebuilding team like the Raiders, which we'll talk about later, dude, one of those teams resign? I mean, Stephon Diggs is still a free agent. So there's still a lot of time for players to be signed here. I can see Washington signing Stephon Diggs. Totally. I mean, the receiver room is solid right now, but they definitely could use a true slot F receiver because Treylon Burks is more of a Z or an X. But McLaurin's a guy who can play all around, but they're going to have multiple receivers that can do that. Now, the big question is cornerback right now. You have Mike Sanders still, Kello Witherspoon, Trey Amos, Antonio Hamilton. You got Amik Robertson and Rasul Douglas with Quan Martin and Nick Cross. I like the safeties. Nick Cross is a very good player. He had a very good run on the Colts. And Quan Martin made some plays last year. And then you got Jeremy Reeves, who's a special teams demon. That guy is very good. And then the special teams, special teams, special plays, special players. Obviously, we talked about with Dallas. That's a key unit for them with Brandon Aubrey. And then Washington, they have Tress Way, who's one of the best punters in the league. So field positioning matters, man. That's a really big thing. How can a punter flip the field? We're going to see how the secondary really has potential to look. And obviously, coaching-wise, with David Blau taking over as the offensive coordinator, you have Dan Quinn over there. So we're going to see how Washington works together. And then the final team in this division, a whole new coaching staff. Everyone's gone. John Harbaugh's in, and Jackson Dart and John Harbaugh are the new coach-quarterback duo in New York. And, if Jackson Dart unfortunately struggles with injuries again, which let's hope he's not, because he is the most talented quarterback I've seen the Giants have in years. Eli Manning was very good for them. But talent-wise, Jackson Dart has sky potential talent. And then you got a guy like Jameis Winston as his vet. That's a backup quarterback that can fill in at any time and win you any game. Like, again, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, very capable NFL starting quarterbacks in backup roles. Both guys were high-level picks when 2015. But they have potential to go in and step in there and definitely fill in and win a couple games in the NFL. Scottaboo's back, so that's great for the Giant fans. I know he's a fan favorite. He's very physical. Then you got Tyron Tracy and Devin Singletary. And then obviously the biggest news is the return. He's back. Still not wearing 13 in that practice jersey. I know Giants fans are probably a little upset about that, but Odell is back. So I know the Giants fans are thrilled about that. And the man, the myth, the legend, one of the greatest receiver runs of the 2010s, future Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, got to be the captain of this offense for sure. So really like that for Giants fans. And then obviously you have Darius Slayton, you have Darnell Mooney, you have Juju Smith-Schuster, you have Braxton Berrios. The receivers there, even Isaiah Hodgins, solid player. Isaiah Likely and Theo Johnson, good tight ends. Pat Ricard coming over. I liked the line at some pieces. I like Jermaine Illuminor. I think Francis was a great first-round selection that the Giants used. And then you have the guy like Andrew Thomas. Now the question is can Andrew Thomas finally stay healthy? It's been a consistent issue. Now, they are questionable with Runyon at guard. He's been inconsistent. They're questionable at center. John Michael Smits, that's a guy that we'll see how he does. Obviously, based off production, that's a question mark. The Giants' offensive line has not been good for some time. And then finishing off with his defense, you got Shelby Harris and DJ Reader trying to fill in that one technique that Dexter Lawrence obviously was traded to Cincinnati. But they do have multiple guys that can get to the quarterback. Obviously, Brian Burns, by far the best player on this defense. This guy's a freak. He can go out to the quarterback anytime, any place, get after there all day. And then obviously their other first-round pick was Arvell Reese. So we'll see how Arvell Reese looks. That's a very physical player. He can play all around. We'll see how he's used, either as a pass rusher, maybe if he can play some Sam, some Mike, some Will. And then their best linebacker right now, though, is by far Tremaine Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds, whew, he can move all over the place. That guy was great in Chicago. He was great in Buffalo. I expect him to do the same. And then Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau. Are you guys finally going to arise to the occasion and actually play like your draft stock? Because the Giant fans, I know, want those guys to be so successful. And they just haven't yet. But can they get to that level? They are pretty good in the edge spots. Now, obviously, DJ Reader's probably their best tackle, but losing Dexter Lawrence definitely hurts. Then you got a Debo and Greg Newsome and Deonte Banks and Drew Phillips as the corners. Tyler Newman and Javon Holland as safeties. Holland as the best player in that secondary, but it is concerning because they do have to play Dallas week 1. So we'll see how that goes. Based off these rosters, based off the schedules and the coaching staffs, I will say this division is the most complete when it comes to coaching staffs and definitely quarterbacks. Definitely the best quarterback coached division in football right now from 4 to 1. So As unfortunate as I have to say, there does have to be a fourth place team. I'm going to go Washington at 6-11. I just think they lack certain things in key positions. A team that's on the rise is the Giants. I got them finishing 7-10. I think they're about a year and a half away, and they have a lot of potential to be good. Then I'm going to have the Cowboys at 12-5 as my first place team, and the Eagles at 11-6 my second place team. I think they're going to be competing back and forth all year long. But again, this is just prediction. The Giants in Washington have just as much of a chance right now as Philly and Dallas. Now, this will be the most competitive division in the league by far. I think they're going to have a dogfight every divisional game, and I expect every team to be competing until the end. This was the first episode, and we're going to get back with that next preview soon. Hope you guys like it, and we'll see you in the next one. Completed.